Information age. Information age is highly modernized, automated, data-driven, and technologically advanced. This best describe our society nowadays, as evidenced by how information could be transferred or shared quickly. The information age is defined as a period starting in the last quarter of the 20th century when information became effortlessly accessible through publications and through the management of information by computers and computer networks. The information age is also called the digital age and the new media age because it was associated with the development of computers. The loss of biodiversity has many consequences that we understand and many that we do not. As stated by Tillman, the Earth will retain its most striking feature, its biodiversity, only if humans have the prescience to do so. This will occur, it seems, only if we realize the extent to which we use biodiversity when drafting and implementing environmental health regulations. It is important to consider vulnerable subpopulations. A vulnerable subpopulation is a group with an increased susceptibility to the adverse effects of an environmental risk factor due to their age, genetics, health status, or some other conditions. Biodiversity and ecosystem is defined as the vast variety of life forms in the entire Earth. It encompasses all kinds of life forms, from a single-celled organisms to largest multi-celled organisms. Its definition is in a structural and functional perspective and not as individual.
Biodiversity is the source of the essential good and ecological service that constitute the source of life for all, and it has direct consumptive value in food, agriculture, medicine, and in industry. Bilashu globally 2009. Nutritional impact of biodiversity. According to the World Health Organization, biodiversity is a vital element of human beings. Nutrition of its influence to food production. Biodiversity is a major factor and contributes to sustainable food production for human beings. A society or a population must have access to a sufficient variety of nutrition food as it is determinant of their health as human beings. And if an environmental regulation is designed to impact average member of a population, it may fail to adequately protect vulnerable subpopulation. However, almost everyone in the population has one above average susceptibility to at least one environmental risk factor. Thank you.
Truths of the Information Age. Robert Harris detailed some facts on the information age. Number 1, information must compete. Number 2, newer is equated with truer. Number 3, selection is a viewpoint. Number 4, the media sells what the culture busy. Number 5, the early word gets the perm. Number 6, you are what you eat and so is your brain. Number 7, anything in great demand will be counterfeited. Number 8, ideas are seen as controversial. Number 9, undead information walks ever on. Number 10, media presence creates the story. Number 11, the medium selects the message. For research to be ethical human, Subject must give consent, and great care must be taken to ensure that they understand that they can opt out of the research project. Since late 1990s, some pesticide companies have tested their products of human subjects to gather data to submit the government for regulatory purposes. Health, biology, and biodiversity. Almost all living organisms are dependent to their environment to live and reproduce. Basic needs of living organisms such as air, water, food, and habitat are provided by its environment. The evolution of human being was due to the improved access to these basic needs. Advances in agriculture, sanitation, water treatment, and hygiene have had a far greater impact on human health than medical. Therefore, we as human inhabitants of the ecosystem must preserve and conserve the biodiversity of all creatures. In simple terms, it is true that people will always depend on biodiversity on the wholeness of our being and in our everyday lives.
Environmental hazards increase the risk of cancer, heart disease, asthma, and many other illnesses. These hazards can be physical, such as pollution, toxic chemicals, and food contaminants, or they can be social, such as dangerous work, poor housing conditions, urban sprawl, and poverty. Unsafe drinking water and poor sanitation and hygiene can lead to infectious disease such as diarrhea and cholera. Some commentators charge that these experiments are unethical because they place people at an acceptably high risk without a clear benefit to society. Others have argued that the experiments, if properly designed and implemented, could produce important benefits to society by providing useful knowledge about the effects of pesticides that can lead to strong regulation. Somehow, there are ways and processes in the ecosystem that are not apparent nor appreciated by us human beings. Think about the need to drink clean and fresh water, the need to eat healthy vegetables and food, or the need of man to transport, which makes him rely on fuel. All of these are human needs that are answered and provided.
The interrelation between human health and biological diversity considerable and complex, with the current biodiversity loss and unprecedented rates. The delicate balance between human health and biological diversity is at risk. Thus, if we fail to keep the process of taking care of ecosystem, it is us who are actually putting our lives at risk. Significant decline in biodiversity has direct human impact when ecosystem in its infancy can no longer provide the physical as well as social need of human beings. And directly change in ecosystem affect livelihood, income, and on occasion may even cause of political conflict.
Environment related illnesses. Some human illnesses that are found to be related with its environment include Par- Parkinson's disease, heart disease, cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, asthma, diabetes, obesity, occupational injuries, dysentery, arthritis, malaria, and depression. Change in biodiversity. Alteration in any system could bring varied effects.
A change in biodiversity could have erratic effects, not only in wildlife or marine life, but also in human beings. We can clearly infer that our ecosystem is not well taken care of. Biodiversity encounters changes that may impact human health on such different levels.
Threats to biodiversity. Major threats identified by United Nations Environment Program: habitat loss and destruction, alteration in ecosystem composition, overexploitation, pollution and contaminations, global climate change. According to experts, climate change could also have serious impact on human health and could deteriorate farming systems and reduce nutrients in some feeds. Relationships between human health and the environment raise many ethical, social, and illegal dilemmas by forcing people to choose among competing values, and many of the issues at the intersection of health and environment have to do with managing benefits.
Consequences of biodiversity loss. Even with the improvement of technology and science at present, we still have a lot to learn about the biodiversity, more so about the consequences of biodiversity loss. However, the basic concept about biodiversity loss was from Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace. The particular species making up an ecosystem determine its productivity, affect nutrient cycles and soil contents, and influence environmental conditions such as water cycles, weather patterns, climate, and other non-biotic aspects.
Nutrition and biodiversity are linked on many levels. The ecosystem with food production as an ecosystem service. Nutritional composition between foods and among varieties cultivars based on the same food can differ dramatically, affecting micronutrient ability of the diet. Intensified and enhanced food production through irrigation, use of fertilizer, plant protection, pesticides, or introduction of crop varieties, cropping patterns, biodiversity, and thus impact global nutrition status and human health. Various public health strategies fit the rights of individuals against the good society, such as mandatory treatment, vaccination of diagnostic testing, isolation of quarantine, and disease surveillance. Human rights issues also come up with research of environmental health and involves human subjects. Biodiversity. Within the concept of ecosystem, needs a thorough study on the relationship of the biotech, the living organism, and the biotech, the non-living organism. Interdisciplinary approach is needed to study the ecosystem. Biodiversity plays a major role in this natural dynamic.
As the vast variety of vast
To keep the process of ecosystem of biodiversity loss. Even